Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show. In today's episode, so I'm doing a practice episode just to overall see if this new microphone I got works properly. So it's not really new, but it's new, I guess. Like I bought it today and it's the same exact microphone as the one that I was using before. So I don't think there's going to be much of an audio difference or none of that. Only difference is that the microphone that I got now changes colors. So yeah, the reason why I got it was because I just having to switch back and forth. I was like, man, like why is content creating so exhausting? I shouldn't be talking on some out of shape stuff I got an issue, but I guess just to overall have one thing in one area and one thing in another area, and I don't have to keep constantly going back and forth, because I don't know how many times where I've started up a stream and my microphone's not plugged in, or if I'm recording a video, my microphone's not plugged. So I'm to eliminate all of that, let me just get a second microphone, one for one area, one for another area. And I just got all that stuff, figured out and situated and things. So, yeah, man, I'm telling you, I'm trying to be as serious about content creating as I possibly can be. So I pretty much have two workstations. I got one area where I record my videos, and then I got another area where I stream. And yeah, then it's the rest of my room, it's either, just got mess in one area and things, and then just trying to do TikTok videos. My room, I'm telling you right now, it's so unorganized. I remember at one point in time my room used to be so organized, and then next thing you know, I looked up one day and it was it's not how it used to be. I had to say, I remember at one point where I couldn't even maneuver around my room. It wasn't, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a hoarder situation, because I was managed. All I just had to do was just push things. So pretty much what I would do when I would take something out, if I had a pair of shoes that I wanted to wear, I just leave the box right there and just put the shoes on top of the box. So I was just pretty much being lazy. And I think that's what I'm overall doing now, is just, being lazy and crap. And I'm one of these days, I just need to just sit down and just thoroughly organize and put things back to where it was at and stuff. Because, and there's also some things I got to throw away. But it's stuff that I don't mind throwing away. That's one thing I had to say, with them hoarders. I don't know if anybody has ever watched them two TV shows, Hoarders and then Hoarding Buried Alive. But, oh my God, those people are it's wild. It's definitely one of those shows you gotta watch, because I can talk about some episodes on that, the one lady liked to hoard poop. What are some other? The one guy had a bad roach problem. What are some other things? The one lady, she thought a demon was attacking. I remember me and my dad, we were watching that episode one day, and she thought a demon was chasing her or attacking her or whatever. So she painted blood. I think it was blood. I don't know. Maybe it was just some dark colored paint. But she put blood on her door, had animal bones scattered around. It was, I'm telling you, those TV shows, those shows is wild. And I'm I honestly, if that had been me, I'd been so embarrassed to put myself on TV, and then that's how the world sees me. I'm trying to find a wife. I'm trying to live happily ever after with a woman, and I would not want her to see me on TV all hey, wasn't you the guy that was collecting dead squirrel bones and all that stuff? I don't want that question to be asked to me and stuff. So that's why I'm nah, fam. I can't let it get to that point and stuff. So Yeah, it's crazy overall, like that TV show. But I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any other TV shows that's wild like that. I think the only other TV show I remember like being wild like that was My Strange Addiction. Like, I know a lot of people probably mention the TV show 600 Pound Life, but I'm like, that's something where like they usually have like well, even with hoarders too, they usually will have a reason why they got the way they, or why they became the way that they are and stuff. But like, I feel like with 600 Pound Life though, like, I'm like, let me sit here and think about the difference, because I mean there ain't much of a difference. I guess everybody just has their way of coping with things, but I don't know. I feel like with 600 Pound Life, like, that person, at least it ain't something where they're like they want to lose weight. Them people on hoarders, they don't. There's sometimes where people, like the one lady wanted to keep a rock. I can't remember what episode. Not like The Rock, not Dwayne The Rock Johnson. No, like if you go to freaking Laguna Beach, and if they got an area where there's rocks, she picked up a rock, like it like a rock, like a legitimate like mineral. I think that's what they call it in scientific terms and stuff. Like it was a rock and she wanted to keep it. And I don't know if it was her sister or friend, whoever, but they grabbed the rock out her hand and threw it as far as they could. And I'm like, she's just gonna get another one. Like, I don't think people realize, like, you're surrounded by rocks. Like, you could easily go outside, just pick up. She could just easily dug up a hole or something, been like, I found another rock. Like, well, what are you gonna do? I'm like, fam, what you need is like an iPhone, and just because my thing is this, I feel like with that, like, you could just take pictures of rocks. Like, because my thing is, like, yeah, you get to take it's not, like, you literally can have, like, 500 rocks in your pocket, bro. Like, and that woman wanted a whole rock, and it's like, fam, it's, once again, not Dwayne The Rock Johnson, like, a rock that you can find out on the street somewhere, and it's, it's crazy. But, like, yeah, with 600 Pound Life, it's like, with those people, they want to lose the weight and stuff. Like, yeah, they be wanting to eat, but I just feel like that they're not like, oh no, this, this like my leg, or like this, like, I don't know, because I don't want to say like this like chunk of fat. I feel like that's just disrespectful and stuff. But they're not like, I guess like to not being disrespectful, but at the same time it's gonna most likely sound disrespectful. But like, they're not gonna look at a roll on their side and be like, oh, I remember, back 2-3 years ago when I very first seen this roll, and I'm like, I don't want to let this roll go. Me and this roll has me. Like, they don't be saying that on 600 Pound Life. Those people would legit get like a old, like, no, there's people on Hoarders and Hoarding, because there's two different shows. There's Hoarders, and then there's Hoarding Buried Alive. And there's people that will have like old food from like when I was born. I was born in 1996. So there's people that will have food from either then or a lot. There's food that they'll have that is older than me. There has been times where people have been like, oh yeah, I bought this back in like 1986. I came home from work, bought it, couldn't find it. And then all of a sudden, 20, 30 years later, then they're on that TV. Because a lot of episodes are old. So, like, they'll be like, 20, 30 years later, they're like, people are like, oh, well, yeah, there's that, like, that jar of jam or whatever. And it's like, yeah, even though the expiration date says 1986, they're like, oh, it's still edible. It's like, fam, it's not. Like, it's not. You can't eat that. Like, that's not edible. And so I feel like I know there's one person that I know that be listening to my podcast, and I feel like he'll say some stuff like, well, yeah, it's still technically edible. Like, you can't eat it. And I'm like, yeah, and you could get sick and die, too. Like, after a while, it's like, especially after, like, years. I'm saying years done past. No, because I wanted to talk on that real quick. So there was a time I remember when I was a kid, and there was this pizza that I had in the freezer for I don't know how long. I had seen that pizza in that freezer for a while. So you would think like, okay, like, it should be chilled to eat. Like, it's in the freezer, it's frozen, it shouldn't have. No, just because it's in the freezer doesn't mean that it has an expiration date for a reason. I don't think I didn't even look at the expiration date. I remember I ate that whole pizza that night. All right, I remember I went to sleep. I felt fine. I remember I woke up, and you know how like you get that feeling of like excitement, like I don't know why I was getting that feeling, but I was getting that feeling. I'm like, why am I excited about something? I'm like, there's nothing to be even excited about. Like, I had that, like, gut feeling, and I'm like, what is going on right now? So I start feeling like a certain way, and I'm like, wait a second, this, sickness just caught me by surprise. Fam, I am sick. I remember I immediately got up, like, ran to the bathroom, just threw up. Like, I was throwing up, bro. Like, I think I was throwing up like a good portion, of that morning and stuff. I honestly, because this happened back to when I was in school, so I honestly couldn't go to school, and yeah, like I messed my insides up badly, and I had to say that was like I think that was like one of the last few times like I think I had like, cause I remember it would like stop sometime later, just go right back to throwing up, like, and it was all within it was not even like all within the morning, like all within that hour. Like, I think like the first hour I threw up like 2-3 times. Like, it was bad. Like, it was bad. I think that was also the same time though. I think I was so sick, like I ended up like falling asleep in the bathroom, because that's how like bad it was and stuff, where it was like I made my body so that's why I'm like, when they start talking about like eating old foods and stuff, I'm like, fam, that stuff is not edible. Like, it's not. Like, it's old for a reason. Go to the store and get you some new food and stuff. Like, I just don't get people on that show. They'll be like, oh yeah, it's like, I can eat this old food. And it's like, yeah, and you gonna get sick. And it's gonna be probably worse for you. I'm like, I was eating probably something old from like the year prior. Like, and they're trying to eat something that's like 10, 20 years old and stuff. It's like older than their grandkids talk about. It's still edible and stuff. And I'm like, oh, and then there's people on that show that'll be like, oh, I love the junk more than my own family and stuff. I'm like, man, these people on that show be so weird and stuff, but I had to say, no, it ain't nowhere compared to My Strange Addiction. I think on the level of weirdness, it goes My Strange Addiction, Hoarders and Hoarding Buried Alive. Like, they're technically the same show, so like, I mean, it's like from different, I think, productions and stuff, but like, there's that's in the middle, and then I have to say 600 Pound Life is like the least weirdest and things, because to talk on that show real quick, so 600 Pound Life, for those that don't watch that show, don't know too much about it, so it's about like people that are like massively overweight. Like, it's an issue. It gets to the point where they can't walk, they can't do like things around the house, like they can't do nothing, so they're struggling. And pretty much like they're talking to this doctor, and like overall to lose weight. Doctor tells them like, all right, hit this goal, we could do this surgery and help you lose weight faster and stuff, or just show overall just losing weight. So at times, some of those people are like, they don't do the goal because they're all like, they love eating the food more than working out. And so, yeah, and then there's at times where people, they don't, get the surgery. Then there's like, I think it's like, I don't know, because I usually don't watch that show because it's just a little bit too depressing for me. I'm like, shows like that, what are some other shows? No, there's some other weird shows on there. Like, they got the one TV show where I'm like, I know I'll never watch that, but Pimple Popper. There is this one show where it had these people with like messed up feet. Oh my god, like, there were people on there where it was like, fam, it makes you want to go, like, and take a shower and just go across, like, you know how, like, when them shoe cleaners would take the towel and just go back and forth on the shoe? Like, that's what I want to do to my foot, because I'm like, fam, that is not normal. That is scary for your foot to be, like, but it's usually because of, like, some, like, I think it's, like, a disease or something, I don't know. Well, it's not really, because it's like curable if they get the surgery from the doctors. It's usually like an ingrown nail, or they'll have like some like extra stuff growing on their feet. And I'm like, fam, like, that is some scary stuff. But hey, man, I'm like, that it's them, like, because I can't remember I don't know what they call that TV channel now. Like, what is it? Is it TLC? It might be TLC, I think. It might be TLC. I don't know, but I remember before it was like Discovery Health Channel and stuff, and I think they sold the rights and now they just got the Discovery Channel. But telling you, man, I'm like, people on them shows, they be doing some wild and outlandish stuff. 600-pound life, it's like because they'll have like a reason why they got to that. Like they'll say like, there's something traumatic happened in their life, so they go to eating. And I know like with like hoarders, they say the same thing too, where it's like something traumatic had happened to in their life, so that's why they started hoarding. My strange addiction, them people would just be like, oh, I saw like a mannequin in Macy's and I fell in love, so that's why I got this weird addiction with mannequins and stuff. And it's like, and then there was the one lady, she was eating her husband's ashes. Like, it was just, my strange addiction had some weird people on there and stuff, so that's why I'm like, nah, fam, like, you guys, y'all doing some wild stuff. Like, I can't support that, so. But, yeah, I'm like, them shows is wild, bro. They're very, very wild, so. But anyways, and that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. If you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're viewing this on the podcast streaming service, make sure you follow or subscribe however it's set up. Make sure you subscribe to one of my 43 YouTube channels. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram at TMossBoss. And make sure you follow my Facebook page at TMossBoss fan page. Also, if you're purchasing any tickets from SeatGeek, make sure you use my promo code TMossBoss. It will knock $20 off your first purchase. And then that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.